Hello everybody and welcome to this next kit. I hope you're going to enjoy it. This is using the the press cut Aries dies and the John Next Door vintage flowers and leaves. I'm just going to put that card down, turn the camera down, and in your kit you will get all your pieces. You'll get your frame, the filigree, the ombre card, your main backing card, and all your little bits. Yours will have come in a bag. I've just put mine all into little boxes because they're easier to handle. And for those that share, this is the prize that will be going with this card. So when you've made them up, please share with a chance to win. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop these to a side for the moment because we need to work on some of the other things to just get them done and dried before we go any further. If you have the 3M craft mount, it's a lot better to use it on this, but not everybody has it, so I'm going to use double-sided tape and glue for mine. So I'm just going to run some tape round. It is best to use the blue tape or red line tape for this because the ombre card does require a little bit of extra hold. I'm just going to run this round all the way around, and then I'm going to put just a few dabs of glue just in the centre on the filigree. I'm going to actually put a piece of, just so you can see what I'm doing, I'll turn my board over so you can see it. It's maybe a little bit easier to see. So what I need now is I need my ombre card, and you can decide whether or not you want the dark colour at the top or the lighter colour at this point. You can work on it for later. So I'm just going to find my tweezers. I'm going to turn back two opposite corners of the foam tape. Doesn't want to come off. And do this corner and that corner. And then I'm just going to put a few odd dabs of glue. Doesn't want a lot, but just some odd little dabs. You've got, if you can see, you've got the crossed lines here. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting some odd dabs of glue just on these cross lines. It'll just help to hold the card in place on the ombre card. I'm just going to just catch all these as I go across. Doesn't want a lot, don't want to flood it else it will squeeze through. So just odd little dabs just on the way through. And nearly there, and then we'll pop the ombre card on. And then that can be drying while we get on and put the leaves together. They just take a little bit longer to put together, but they do look lovely when they're all finished. And nearly there. So just pop that. So I'm going to just pop my ombre card, just facing it over like that. It won't be seen, so if you're out at a slant as I am, don't worry, because it won't show once it's on the card and you've got your frame on. So just give that a really good press on the back, and then as you can see, that will just help to keep the filigree down. Just go to give it another good press. say that with it being a slightly rougher card, the ombre, it just takes a little bit longer to hold. So now you could either have it with the dark at the top and the light at the bottom, or the other way. I'm just going to pop that to a side for the moment, and we're going to make a start on putting the flowers together, the leaves together. Just pop those out there. So make sure we turn these all over on the right side. And we have matching these up. I'll show you the red. The red filigree goes on the orange. So just going to pop these on like that. The other red filigree on the flowers, your flowers may be the darker colour, but I had run out of the darker colour when I cut this kit for myself. But it will all work out the same when it's put together. And then the darker green goes on the green flowers. And I have lost one of my leaves somewhere. So it was the acorn leaf, the oak leaf. For some unknown reason I have lost that. So then we've got that little one. It won't matter because it'll look quite nice with just a filigree one. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to spread some glue onto my, if I move these over a bit so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull my heat mat over. I'm just going to rub just some bits of glue and spread it out. You don't want a lot. I'm just spreading it out with a palette knife and just going to press all down just so that you can get the leaves. Obviously, if you have the spray glue, this works a lot better with spray glue. So then just going to pop this on to our card, the card base. I start at the top and work down and then press it firmly. Put a little bit, we don't need a lot of glue because it does dry fairly quickly. So I'm just going to pop that one on. Make sure there's all the little bits have got some glue on the back. And then that one goes on this little leaf. It's a bit like an ivy leaf. So then you can see how it comes. So I think I've got enough to just do this next leaf. Make sure that I've got plenty on. It's very warm in here today, so it's drying a bit too quick. So let's pop that onto this one. And again, that is your leaf. I'll just pop some more glue on. And then spread it all on thinly, because if you put it too thick on there, it does have a tendency to flood on the back of your filigree pieces. But just dab it through. I'll try and bring it over so you can see it a bit more. So just dab this through so all the backs of your leaves are covered. You can see if you look when you turn it over, just make sure that it's covered. Again, I start on the middle one at the top and then just work it round. It may just need to be lifted and moved slightly, but it looks really nice when it's on. So if you can see there, that is that leaf done. So now I'm just going to put this next one down, making sure that I've got enough glue on the back, and again starting at the top point and sliding it across. These all need to dry before we start to manipulate them. There's some of these leaves do not have filigree on them, so don't worry if you think there's any pieces missing. They don't all have the filigree. I'm just doing this orange one now, making sure that I've got plenty of glue on the back. A bit more just on some of these pieces. And then again, starting with the top middle one, and then just ease all your other pieces in and press them down. If there's any bits of glue showing, it will dry clear. So I've just got these two little flowers to do. I'm just going to put a bit more glue down and going to make sure there is plenty of glue on these, because these are going to stick on the ombre card, the glitter card. So again, just start with one petal first, then ease the others across. So I'm just going to ease these over before I press them down. And so then we end up with them looking like that. I'll do this one. And making sure that I've got plenty of glue on. And again, just starting with one petal and then ease the others on. Oops, that stuck to my finger then. So again, just easing the petals over until you have it like that. So they all need to dry. So I'm just going to wipe this glue off. I won't be a minute. So just get a piece of kitchen roll and wipe it off so I don't get everything stuck to it. And just a bit more water on, and just and that's got that cleaned. So now then, I'm just going to leave all these just to a side and just leave them over to a side to dry, and we'll come back to those when we've got the rest of the card put together. Whoops. Next thing is we're going to ink just around the edges. I've got a different sentiment. I did have the sentiment that you've got on yours, but for some unknown reason it's gone missing. It's probably gone with the oak leaf. So I've just stamped another one, and it says autumn is the second spring when every leaf is a flower, which I thought was quite nice. So I'm just using an orange. I'm going to bring over my mat, and then I'm just going to only once a little bit round the edges, just to take the starkness off. And I think my pad's nearly empty. Don't worry too much about the other end, because that is going to be covered with the petals and your leaves. So I'm going to add that now onto the backing with just a touch of glue, and that again can be drying while we get on and put the rest of the card together. So that there just slots nicely onto this card with just a nice even border all the way around. Whoops, press too hard then. So then that will dry off nicely while we get on with the rest of the card. I'm just going to reach over my foam tape. I put it out of reach. So the first job we're going to do, turn my mat over, is work with the base card. Now it's entirely up to you whether you do a side crease or a top crease. Either way, there is no right and wrong, so whichever you want to do. I'm doing a side one. Just wants to be at about 2 centimetres, and it's box line 1 on the easy scoreboard. So anybody that uses that, it's easy enough to work with. So let's turn that to make sure it's flowing freely. And I put my first line of tape right up to the fold line. That is where it takes the most strain every time the card is opened. So we want to make sure that that one is firm and holding secure. And I just run one on the outside edge. I know when we had them on the television, a lot of them came apart because the tape had dried out. So I now always make sure that I put a good firm tape on to hold it. So I'm going to take my front of my card, match up the bottom corner, run it along the top edge, hold it securely and slide out that strip of tape, and then just reach in and pull out that strip. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually add this onto our card, and again we shall use the double-sided tape on this, as it will hold it, because there is quite a bit of weight once we get everything put together. So I'm just going to add my tape all round, and then we'll start and add the little bits of paper piercing. And it's entirely up to you. If you don't want to do the paper piecing, don't. But if you do, you've got all the pieces in the little envelope that came with it, with your kit. I'm just going to finish that, and I'll just put one strip down the middle. And again, I'm just lifting the corners, the 2 alternate corners. So I have got 2 corners that are still covered, which gives me plenty of room to manoeuvre with. And take off the centre strip and just add some dabs of glue to stop the static, and it stops the glue, stops the tape grabbing to your card. So making sure you've got the right side of your card. Want to position this pretty much in the centre of your card, like that. Then pull your tape out and just rub all the way around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add all the little green squares next. Move the box. So I'm using just a little picky up tool. Just make sure that all the squares are the right way. You'll be able to see if you just lay them down that they there is like a nice beveled edge when they're on the right side. So I'm just going to make sure they're all turned over so that they're all ready to be picked up and slotted into place. Right, so what I'm going to do is, on these squares, I'm just going to run some glue And I'll hold the card up to show you. So I'm just running the glue into those squares like that. So then we take our little picky up tool and we can just drop the square in all the way around. Just make sure that you press them firmly in. Got that one the wrong way. Whoops, that one's just slipped a bit, so just move it back and just make sure that they're all pressed firmly in. So then we go on to the next row. And just work down the card, doing each of the squares. Again. Make sure that it just slots in. Oops. All the way down. And just keep doing this all the way down your card. Maybe seems a bit time consuming, but it does look nice when it's finished. Just slot these in. And keep going down, nearly down to the bottom. And again, just keep picking them up. And oops, didn't want to stay at that. I think I must have got glue on my fingers. And nearly there. And just one more row after this. And coming up to the last one. Oops. They need to all dry now. So I'm just going to leave this just to the side for a moment. Now I'm going to actually add the red frame onto the orange frame. So I'll get my double-sided tape. The foam tape doesn't go on this layer, it goes on the orange layer onto the green. So just do this. You check your frames first to make sure that you've got them all lined up straight. I can't remember whether I marked yours with the top on or not, so it will be best to just make sure you have them lined up straight. So pop that. So we're just wanting a nice border. So do that like that, and then check it with the green. So they've just got very narrow borders, so they do all fit nicely. Again, just turning my corners back. Again, I'm just putting some dabs of glue on these corners so that it doesn't just grab straight away. So I'm using the corners that have no tape turned back on, just to make sure that I've got them lined up first, and then I shall just press down these corners, and then oops, take my tapes out. And I've just got a little bit of glue off my fingers on there, so I'm just using my glue eraser to take it off. Pop that to a side, and we're now going to put the green one straight down onto our card. Just make sure I get it the right way around. That's it. And again, this I'm just doing with tape just down in the middle. You don't need to put tape right up to the edge. So I'm just doing it in the middle, all the way around. And again, make sure it's firmly pressed down. And just make sure that you've got it the right way when you pop it on your card. So that is my top. So turn that corner, turn that corner, turn my bottom two corners at the opposite end. Again, just some dabs of glue to stop it grabbing, and make sure that it's just nicely lined up. Is that right? Yes, I was right, yeah. I think I cut my base card the wrong size. What happened was I tried to do this video yesterday. I got it all done, only to find that my photos gallery was full and it didn't record it. So I had to do a very, very quick recut. So I'm just going to use my little trimmer and just trim this edge off. It was a very, very rushed job to get it all put back together again. Just take a little strip off the top there. I don't think it wants to come off, that. I'll trim it with my big guillotine afterwards. So. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add the foam tape onto the orange. And I'm using a 2mm foam tape. And again, just down the centre. You don't need to take it right up to the edge. So I'm just putting it right the way down the centre. On all four sides. And again, before I put it on, I just check and make sure that I've got it the right way round. That's it, so that's the top. You may want to, with yours, just if I haven't marked them, just line them up and mark them which is the top on the 3 layers. It may just make it a little bit easier for you. And again, just some dabs of glue. Again, just position it nicely all the way around, and then pull my tape out. Now the next one is we're actually putting the tag in. So I'm going to put the tag about there. So again, just a little bit of foam tape, but you don't need to take the foam tape right to the edge. It's just at this side, because we already have the foam tape on the frame and it will just sit nicely over that. Take this off. Add some dabs of glue and then just a little bit of glue on that edge. So we add it so it just sits on like that. And what I do now is I actually lay my leaves out to see where they want to go before I put the orange bits in, because there's no point putting the orange bits on places that are going to be covered with the leaves. So I'm going to put them in like this, and then before we stick them down we can see, so this filigree one will actually overlay like that, and then leave the others. They can be slotted in afterwards, but it'll give you an idea where you need to put your orange bits. So yes, we can have it, if I mark these out as I go round at the top, I can take the leaves away. So now I don't need any leaves under those. So again, just going to pop the orange into these. And again, try and make sure that you've got them the right way round. They will look a lot better. And just press them all in. If you don't want to put the orange in there, you don't need to. It's entirely up to you which you put in. You can leave them out. I've certainly got some glue on my fingers. I'm going to have to be careful. See if I can wipe it off. So everything's sticking to me. So I can do this. These on here. At the moment I'm only doing the ones that will line up with these with the leaves. I can leave the other little bits just for the moment and we can fill them in after we've put the leaves in. So that's those. So now we can see where we want these on the bottom, so we can do that one there, that one, that one, that one. So we've got those. Again, let's add these in. And oops. Right, so pop these in. And then before we go on to do any of the others, we can actually put the leaves on. Oops. it's stuck to me. Does not want to come. And we can fill the rest of those in when we've got the leaves on. So what I'm doing now is just a little bit of shaping on the leaves. Don't have to do a lot, just bend them a little bit down the centre lines, just so they look a little bit as if they've got some shape to them. I'm using some glue gel, but you can use foam tape. Actually, I might use foam tape because I'm nearly out of glue gel, so I might use foam tape on this. So I can trim little bits of foam tape off and put them on. Just pop some of these. Just pop them in on the leaves. You don't need a lot, just some little ones. And take the leaves off. So we're going to have, I think this one will go there like that, and then we want, on this one you can just bend it really nicely. It goes in a nice curve on the green. They're lovely, are these. Again, just some bits of foam tape. And I'm going to slide that over like that. So we want the green one next. So again, just curve it round over your fingers. This is why they needed to dry, else these would have all come off. So just make them so they just don't look flat. And so just cutting little bits of foam tape to put on. I find it's as easy to just leave the roll on my knee while I'm doing it. It stops it rolling all over the place. So again, we can, oops, you can see it just lets those show through. And again, now with the orange one, again, just fold it round and oops, stuck to it. And again, put that like that. We're going to have some of these little ones, so we can have this one will come down, I think just down at this bottom bit. I'll just put a tiny little bit of foam tape in there. We can pop that on like that and leave the petals there. So this one, I'm going to put some dabs of glue on this filigree one. Doesn't want a lot, just some little bits, just enough to hold it. Just going to pop that around about there like that, just so they're overlapping. So what I want to do now is put these little flowers on. They're actually leaves, but I thought they'd make rather a nice flower. So I'm going to see if I can scrape a little bit of glue gel out of these to just pop on. Just put some little bits in the middle of each leaf. And I'm going to pop that there. Okay, and I'm just shaping them a little bit with my fingers. And put a little bit of glue gel in the middle. And just going to overlap in the centre like that. Put the glue gel away before it gets stuck to everything. So now I'm just going to pop the last of these little leaves in, and then we can finish off with the paper piercing to complete the card. So that one will slot nicely under like that. These can go on just with a little bit of glue at the base. So where can I pop that one? That one can slot in there. And again, this one, I'm just going to pop this one under there. Yeah, and just mould the leaves with your fingers. And I'll have that one, so it just hides under there. And then this little tiny one, just a few dabs of glue. I'm going to pop that one just on there. And now I'm going to just tip a few of these out so that I can get at them a bit easier. So I'm now going to finish off the bits that I hadn't done before. And pop that into there. And that in like that. You will see on these, I've used the linen card, so you will see the surface, which is the top and which is the bottom of these little pieces, but it won't really matter if you don't. So don't, whoops, that didn't want to. And again, we just keep going until you've filled all these little areas. Pop these in. And that's there. Oops, that one's just slipped. Just use the end of my pokey tool to, that's got it. When you want to pick one up, it's wanting to pick 2 or 3 up at the same time. I'll pop these in there. Nearly finished, so there's not a lot left to go on. And this. This is the last one. And again, just the last little bits to go in. Slide that over. And right, so just about there now. You'll probably take you more time than I'm doing. As I say, if I don't want to rush them, but as I say, obviously it would make the video a little bit too long if I was a bit slow with it. So just pop my lid back on my glue, and I should have my little, and I've lost that as well. Excuse me while I just go and get the bead, the little gem that goes in there. Let's put a cream one in because I cannot find the little yellow one that I had, so I'm just going to put a little cream one in the centre. And one out and just turn it over and pop that in the centre. I think you've all got little cream ones, so pop that there. So that is the one we've done today, and that was the sample card. And don't forget, this is what you can win by sharing your card. So I hope you've all enjoyed, you'll enjoy making this card, and look forward to seeing you on the next kit, and take care and enjoy. Bye.